Hey, what's going on, America? Looky what we have here. Total gloriousness, I think. Let's focus in a little bit. Okay. I need to get you guys focused in on probably the biggest scandal. Everything's a scandal, right? The most massive, epic Watergate on steroids times a trillion squared of epic proportions bombshell info drop that will definitely harm the deep state significantly. Let me get comfortable here, folks. I recommend you guys grab a tasty beverage on this Friday and start listening in, because if you haven't heard or looked at any sort of deep level, this particular document, 1,730 pages. Well, if you don't have the time to look through it, I am going to summarize it for you. Let's get a little bit of details on the genesis of this. Okay. So 2 days ago, the Senate chairman of the Judiciary Committee, Charles Grassley, senator from Iowa. What did he do? He released 1,730 pages of Arctic frost documents, meaning all 197 subpoenas requesting information on, remember, unpredicated, unlawful, totally unruly, unlawful, unconstitutional subpoenas of individuals that they wanted to target, they being the Biden criminal syndicate, wanted to go after in order to silence them. Okay? Problem is, you fucking spied on the wrong guy. Okay? So I'm sure these senators, they're going to do their thing. They're going to make some noises. They're going to call on the impeachment of Judge Boasberg, kind of like Ted Cruz did, because let's take a look. Let's search for Mr. Ted Cruz in this document. Does anything come up? Looks like not much. But in the previous drop 3 days ago, he shows up, which is not this one. Just kind of, it's a draft, and I guess there was a order to AT&T to not release information of the subpoena to Senator Ted Cruz. So he's angry, and some other senators are angry. But what they haven't talked about yet thus far is particularly this right here. What am I referring to, this right here? Well, I'm going to go into deep dive about this right here, and I'm going to do that excruciating detail. What is it? 197 subpoenas. Over 400 people, I think, were in this particular drop. And we're going to go through the details of it. I'm going to pull how many names and how many individuals. Let's take a look. I'm going to use a AI tool. How many subpoenas and how many individuals and organizations were targeted? Let's take a look. Let's maybe, there we go. 197 subpoenas were issued, 34 individuals and 163 businesses. Interesting. So let's take a look at the 34 individuals that they were looking into. Let's go ahead and screen share. Am I able to screen share it? This right here? I guess I can't, but no worries. I'll still screen share this other document. So 197 subpoenas, and that's why it's 1,730 pages. It's because you have 197 subpoenas. And we're going to go through what a subpoena is for those that have never seen one before and what it is. And then we're going to go through the 34 individuals and the 163 businesses. And you're going to recognize a name in 4 of those subpoenas. Okay. 4. And we're going to go into asking questions on why and who and what, when, where, why, and what is going to happen to those that violated yours truly, Fourth Amendment. So listen in closely. All right, let's take a look at a subpoena. U.S. Department of Justice, see right here, up here, Jack Smith. He was the illegitimate special counsel appointed by the illegitimate Biden criminal syndicate's illegitimately appointed Merrick Garland, whom, if you've been following my work, yeah, I confronted that scum. You know what? Let's talk about me confronting that scum. I'm going to pull that up. Haven't seen that in a while. Oh, see if I can pull that up quickly. We'll go to my X account, and we'll go to Garland. Our good friend Merrick Garland. Wait. See if we can find this. Looks like we can't. Because I offered him a copy of the Biden criminal syndicate laptop report, and he refused to accept it, unfortunately. Oh, wait, I found it. That's a photo. Maybe we can find the video. Good old Merrick Garland. That little scum. I apologize, folks. Can't find it. Okay. No worries. No big deal. We'll continue to talk about the subpoena. I thought I was going to be able to find this, but I guess that's why you have a producer, to be able to search for this as I talk. I might have to get one. All right, let's get back here. All right, so what happens? Just little details here. 950 Pennsylvania Avenue Northwest. What's that? That's the Department of Justice's headquarters. And if you look at my previous streams, I was there and I gave you an introduction of where it's located, the visual, the physical outside of it. And this subpoena was from April 20th of 2023. Okay. Now, it'll be interesting to do an analysis of each of these subpoenas, run it through an AI tool to ask, what is the time frame of all of these subpoenas? I know some were done in February, some were done like this one in April, and it was sent to, here we go, 197 subpoenas. Shows that the first recorded service date was October 11th of 2022. Interesting. So it was before the 22 election. Okay. So what does this mean? It's a subpoena sent to, in this example, via FedEx, to the American Funds Services Company, okay, to their subpoena department. And this is based off of a grand jury subpoena. The number is listed here. GJ stands for grand jury. 2023 is the year. 04 is the month, April. 19 is the day. So April 19, 2023. And then this is the subpoena number, E0307. Let's look through it. Dear Sir, Ma'am, pursuant to criminal investigation, right, of the Department of Justice, it is required that you furnish the requested records as described in the attached subpoena. And actually, since we want to use technology and AI tools, let me see if I can highlight this and just have it read it out loud instead of me reading it. But maybe, just maybe, I can't do that quite yet. Anyhow, in lieu of personally appearing before the grand jury on the date indicated, you may comply with this grand jury subpoena by promptly providing the agent designated in the attachments with the requested records. Bottom line here is that they're writing a letter asking for records. Okay. No reimbursement will be made when a subpoena records. Additionally, you're hereby notified that civil and criminal penalties exist for making certain disclosures regarding the subpoena. The prohibited notifications and applicable penalties are set forth here. Disclosure by you or anyone affiliated with your institution of the existence of this subpoena or the items requested by it may constitute a criminal offense punishable by imprisonment for up to 5 years. So look at this. Not only are they going after this organization, they're telling them that if they disclose that the Department of Justice is going after this information illegally, they're going to be threatened with prosecution. Okay. And what are they looking for? By the way, keep in mind these names. Up here at the very beginning on the first page, you got Jackass Smith, the person that signed it, Aaron Poulis, okay, Assistant Special Counsel. And then you go down here, right? Dates. Oh, the clerk of the District of Columbia. Guess what their name is? Her name is Angela Caesar. Angela D. Caesar. So obviously, these are going to be some individuals that we're going to have to look into. But not so. Don't rush yourself here. Relax. As we go through all of these, subpoenas, talks about who they're looking for, etc. And then at the bottom of each one, basically says, please direct any questions to, and then they give the contact information and the names of the special agents and the forensic accountants. FBI. Remember those two names, Jeremy Desor, and remember the name Walter Giardina. Okay. So then you can see there's 197 of these. Well, we're going to zoom in on 4 really important ones, arguably the most important. And we're going to type in my last name to see if I'm anywhere to be seen in this document. Oh, well, look at that. Number 19, Ivan Raiklin. But wait, Ivan, didn't you say that 34 individuals and 163 businesses were mentioned? And how many times were you mentioned, Ivan? There's 1. Let's do a quick search. Is there any other instance of me being in there? There's 1. There's 2. There's 3. And there is 4. Let's go back to the first one. Let's go back to the top of the subpoena and see what they're snooping around for, as they set the precedent for me to do the same thing to them. And I'll explain who them are. So what does Jackass Smith do? Department of Just Us. Jack Smith, under his authority, supposedly. Okay. Now, does he have the authority to do anything, considering he's he's been appointed illegitimately because there's no Senate confirmation, 1. 2, he's appointed by Merrick Garland, who was appointed by the illegitimate squatter of the White House that never secured an electoral victory in 2020, known as Joe Biden. But I digress. 950 Pennsylvania Avenue. This is Jack Smith writing a subpoena to, wait for it, Let's highlight some of this stuff. The Save America Joint Fundraising Committee. Interesting. Let's find out who was heading up that committee, just to get a little context on what that is. So, what is Save America Joint Fundraising Committee? Imagine we don't know what it is and we're just doing a quick search. And this is what comes up. Save America Joint Fundraising Committee is a political fundraising entity that allows multiple political committees to raise money together under the one umbrella. A joint fundraising committee is a special type of committee recognized by the Federal Elections Commission. It pools donations and then distributes them among several participating committees according to pre-agreed formulas. The Save America Joint Fundraising Committee specifically combines Donald J. Trump for President 2024 Inc., his principal campaign committee, and the Save America PAC, Trump's leadership PAC. Some iterations have also included the Republican National Committee and state-level Republican parties, and depending on the election cycle. Okay? So, let's take a look at who chaired this committee. So, I'm looking it up. Official chair. According to FEC Form 1, Treasurer Bradley T. Crate. Okay. While Crate is the formal treasurer, operational control effectively lies with senior Trump political operatives. Well, well, well. Isn't this intriguing? I think I'm going to need to share the screen. I'm sorry, folks. This just gets better and better. While everyone tells me to stay quiet and look the other way, I will not say anything disparaging about anyone. I'm just going to put together what I'm observing. And you come to your own conclusions, folks. So let's go ahead and share things. So, as I start talking about these things, if you can guess what I'm talking about, please do so. Oh, wait a second. Why is something's wrong with Rumble? Hmm. No one's really tuned in to the Rumble channel. That's interesting. I wonder why. One sec. Looks like I may need to start over again, but I guess I won't. I'll just go ahead and make sure that next time I'll get it right. Unfortunately, it's not right this time. It's all right. We have good audience here on X, approaching 1,000 folks. So let's take a look. Let's share this. I wonder. Oh, here we go. Window. And we'll go over to our chat GPT. Let me see here. So as we're doing subpoena targets, here we go. Look at that. What do we see here? So the treasurer of who Jack Smith is trying to subpoena is this guy. While Crate is the formal treasurer, operational control effectively lies with senior Trump political operatives. Susie Wallace, senior advisor to Donald Trump, oversaw the joint fundraising apparatus. Co-campaign manager for Trump 2024, involved in coordinating disbursements, and RNC liaison. Laura Trump became co-chair of the RNC, helping align the RNC and the Save America Joint Fundraising Committee fundraising pipelines. And Michael Glassner, a longtime Trump campaign aide, initially helped set up Save America PAC and Joint Fundraising Committee mechanisms in 2020 and 2021. See primary address, red curve, PAC, and then you see some details, okay? So 2023, going all the way back, it was what? The treasurer, Miss Wiles, managed overall fundraising and political strategy. Mr. La Savita did that, and there you have it. Okay? So now let's go back to the document that we just saw. This is Jack Smith trying to obtain as much information as possible of Save America Joint Fundraising Committee to see where all the incoming money flows are coming in. Why? They want to find a crime. It's a fishing expedition, right? Problem is, you can't just do that. You can't just say, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and deploy the Department of Justice and, like a gangster, bully my way into obtaining information. So this is what he's looking for, Jackass Smith. Dear sir, ma'am, right? Pursuant to a criminal investigation being conducted by the Department of Justice, it is required that you furnish the requested records as described in the attached subpoena. In lieu of personally appearing before the grand jury on the date indicated, you may comply with this grand jury subpoena by promptly providing the agent designated in the attachment with the requested records. Signed, Maria Vento. Okay. What are they snooping around for specifically? Well, they're giving February 23rd as the deadline at the U.S. District Court for the District of Columbia to appear here. You must also bring with you the following documents: electronically stored information or objects. So the subpoena is dated February 10th. 13 days later is when you're supposed to respond with the documents requested. And the clerk, once again, is Angela Caesar. Okay. So far we got Jack Smith, Maria Vento, Angela Caesar. Those three individuals are the governmental actors colluding to violate the Fourth Amendment. Deprivation of rights under the color of law, right? U.S. Criminal Statute 18 U.S.C. 242. All right. So what are we looking for? Information, data, images, encryption, authentication information, right? Looking at obtaining documents. Look at all the different types of documents they're looking for. It's massive. Let's take a look at the documents. Let's highlight that. Anything written, right? Recorded, organized. I mean, look at this. Everything. Everything and anything. Pamphlets, schedules, flyers, charts, logbooks, tabulations, compilations, calendars, drafts, business cards, minutes. Anything you can think of. They're looking at bank statements, checks. I mean, you name anything and everything, it's basically listed. WhatsApp, Telegram, Signal, ledgers, financial statements. Okay? I think you get the point. But what else are they looking for? Communications, right? But what are they looking for specifically? This is where the meat and potatoes is, folks. For the period of August 1st, 2020 to the present, all documents to, from, CC, BCC, referring to, referencing, or relating to one or more of the following entities and or individuals. Oh. This kind of looks like a continuation of Nancy Pelosi's J6 Fedsurrection Cover-Up Committee in the House, but because the House lost the control from Democrats to Republicans, now they're transferring authority for weaponization over to Jackass Smith as he looks at and continues to weaponize against who? The Proud Boys, the Oath Keepers, First Praetorian Guard, or excuse me, First Amendment Praetorian. And then he goes and takes a look at different individuals. Who are these individuals that he wants to find out if the Joint Fundraising Committee, known as Save America Joint Fundraising Committee, is communicating with these organizations or these individuals, such as Brandon Ackerell, worked for Alex Phillips according to the search tool. Joseph Biggs, who was a Proud Boy. Charles Bowman, testified to the J6 committee, used to work for Women's for America First. Okay. Thomas Caldwell, Oath Keeper. Donovan Crowell, Oath Keeper. I think it's spelled Crowl. Jonathan Hackett. Kenneth Harrelson. Joshua James, all Oath Keepers. Then you got number 12, Robert Patrick Lewis, First Amendment Praetorian founder. Connie Meggs, Kelly Meggs, Roberto Menuda, David Marshall, all Oath Keepers. Ethan Nordine, Proud Boy. Dominic Pizzola, Proud Boy. But wait, who shows up in number 19? Oh, look at this. Number 19 is Ivan Raiklin. Yours truly. So Jackass Smith decided, oh, you know what? Why don't I look at any communications of the Save America Joint Fundraising Committee with Ivan Raiklin? Hey, Jackass, why are you looking into me? What legal reason and predicate do you have to even pierce or even think about looking at me? Guess what? You're going to have to answer to that. And you're going to have to answer that just maybe in person, okay? Who else may need to answer that in person? Well, I don't know. If I was guessing, it'd be Maria K. Vento, who signed off on this subpoena to violate my Fourth Amendment. Who else? Zachary Real was also listed. Stuart Rhodes, Kelly Sorrell. These are Zach, Proud Boy. And you got Stuart, Oath Keeper. Russell Taylor, 3%er. Enrique Tario, Proud Boy. Brian Ulrich, Oath Keeper. Edward Vallejo, Oath Keeper. Jessica Watkins, Oath Keeper. So, if you're keeping score at home, we have, I believe that puts us at 1 3%er, 1 First Amendment Praetorian, 1 Women's for America First, 1 person who worked for ALX, Alex Phillips, 5 Proud Boys, 17 Oath Keepers, and 1 Ivan Raiklin. Interesting. Nancy Pelosi, I see you fear me. Biden criminal syndicate, I see you fear me. Why did you put me on here? I'm not a Proud Boy. I'm not an Oath Keeper. I'm not part of Women for America First. I'm not part of First Amendment Praetorian. I'm not part of the 3%ers. I'm just some dude that is providing America an answer sheet on fixing the illegally conducted 2020 election. As a private citizen, retired, and sick of seeing the shit show. So I make some First Amendment sounds, both digitally and physically. Okay, homie, Jackass Smith? You hear me? Well, if you don't hear me now, you will be hearing from me. So, To recap, Jackass Smith, his little lackey assistant, Maria Vento, signed off by the DC clerk, Miss Angela Caesar. So Jack, Maria, and Angela conspired in order to violate our Fourth Amendment. Wait, what about if they're depriving rights and there's a conspiracy to deprive rights? That sounds like pretty harsh felonious activity if I were just to kind of, as a layman, speak. Right? So you're looking at the Joint Fundraising Committee to see if they communicated from August 1st of 2020 to the present when this was written in 2020, February 2023. If anyone from the Joint Fundraising Committee was communicating with the following individuals and organizations. Keep in mind, when you're referring to the Joint Fundraising Committee, what's that mean? Well, let's go back and show you what that means. This means the following. It's asking the question if Bradley Crate communicated with Ivan Raiklin, if Susie Wiles communicated with Ivan Raiklin, if Chris Lasavita communicated with Ivan Raiklin, and so on and so forth. Anyone involved with, let's take a look to see if we can get an entire list. Save America Joint Fundraising Committee. Who were all of the employees of the Save America Joint Fundraising Committee? Interesting. While related entities such as Save America PAC report staff numbers, for example, a Wikipedia entry lists 44 as of August 2022, I did not find a source. Okay. So that's referring to Save America PAC? But wait, Ivan, didn't you say that there were 4 subpoenas? Why, yes, there were. I'm only on the first one. So let's take note. The treasurer, Wiles, Lasavita. Okay. Now let's take a look at the subpoena in further detail. Who were the special agents that were working on this subpoena? It says, in lieu of personal appearance, you may comply with this subpoena by documents in electronic format to, wait for it, Special Agent Jeremy Desor and Walter Giardina, who work from the FBI Washington field office at this location, 601 4th Street. Huh? Please direct any questions to Special Agent Jeremy Desor and Special Agent Walter Giardina. Well, America, do you think that the Secretary of Retribution has a question for these two? If you say yes, you're right. I do have some questions for these two special agents. One question is first, are you still employed by the FBI? Well, let's ride along. and find out whether or not these scum still are treasoning and violating my Fourth Amendment at taxpayer expense. So let's take a look. Is Special Agent Jeremy, want to make sure we spell this right, Desor, still employed by the FBI? Just asking things, right? Being very peaceful and patriotic. Okay. I could not find any public available records if he's currently. He is identified in court filings as an FBI special agent. Really? I know that. There are social media posts claiming he still works for the FBI. Oh, looky what we have here. Let's click on this link and see what comes up. Well, America. I want to show you something that you might be delighted to see. Jeremy Desor is the name of the agent who created a bogus case against me. This is coming from Brandon Straka from Walkaway. He still works for the FBI Washington field office. I should never have been charged with anything. Yet I was charged with more felonies than most people who entered the building. Why are you still allowing him to work for the FBI? Dan Bongino? Cash Patel? When was this posted? This was as recent as June 1st of this year. A mere 4 months ago. So, Dan, Cash, gentlemen, I'm making it easy for you here. The guy's name's Jeremy Desor. It's not my words. These are Brandon Straka's words. Maybe you listen to him. Brandon's got the answer key. He's providing it to you. Why do you fail and refuse to take the answer key? So the task was to clean out the FBI. And one of the answers in the answer key for the test is the name Jeremy Desor. Okay. Now, maybe you've already launched him into the wilderness. That's a mediocre start. So I'll say, okay, you're starting, doing something. But why don't you just suspend his access, pull his clearance, put him under investigation, use the precedent set by him already, and why don't you subpoena him as well as his former colleague, Walter Giardina, as you subpoena everything to include, wait for it, we'll go to the other slide here, or the other. Why don't you go out after Jeremy Desor and Walter Giardina, subpoena those two, and do exactly what they did to me? Which is what? Why don't you look at all the communications that Jeremy and Walter have done with everybody for their entire life? And when I'm saying documents, this is the definition that I'm referring to, Jeremy and Walter. This is what we need to subpoena from you. Any written, recorded, graphic material of any kind that is in your possession, custody, or control. The term includes, but is not limited to, contracts, agreements, letters, telegrams, inter-office communications, memoranda, notes, reports, analyses, worksheets, spreadsheets, notebooks, surveys, lists, outlines, schedules, pamphlets, newsletters, flyers, charts, logbooks, tabulations, compilations, studies, books, records, telephone books, or messages, visitor books, calendar or diary entries, desk or appointment calendars, drafts, business cards, minutes or meetings, business cards. That's funny. Minutes or meetings or conferences, notes or memos or other records of telephone or other conversations or communications, electronic transmissions, including emails, text messages, instant messaging, chat rooms, electronic bulletin boards, and any communications using applications such as WhatsApp, Telegram, Signal. What else? Ledgers, financial statements, bank statements, check images, front and back bills or invoices, purchase orders, receipts, photographs, microfilm, microfiche, audio and videotape or disc recordings, computer printouts, and communications. It also includes electronically stored data, electronic files stored on file servers, email servers, hard drive, or other electronic storage media within your control from which information can be obtained either directly or by translation through detection devices or readers. Any such document is to be produced in reasonably usable form, electronic and searchable, along with instructions for reading the data. Any such electronically stored information must be preserved in its native format. The term document includes the original or a copy, and all copies that differ in any respect from the original. You get my point, Jeremy and Walter? Let me stretch my neck before I make my recommendation to Pam, Cash, Dan, Janine Pirro, Ed Martin, anyone else at the DOJ that's listening? And by the way, they do. Why don't you go ahead and do this to Jeremy Desor and Walter Giardina? Subpoena them. Let's go ahead and take a look at them. And let's do the same thing for Jackass Smith and Maria Vento while we're at it. And you might want to do the same for Angela Caesar. So that's only one subpoena, folks, that we've gotten through. And the next three are going to be really quick because I kind of covered most of it. So the first one was for the Joint Committee, right? Joint Fundraising Committee. Where is it? There we go. Save America Joint Fundraising Committee. Let's take a look at the next one. Next one is issued to Save America. Let's see if we can get this scrolled up here. So, Save America. Let's take a look at our favorite AI tool. Is that the Save America pack that was referred to? And maybe, just maybe, we have 22, 44. Save America PAC is a leadership political action committee founded, and controlled by Donald Trump, the 45th and 47th President of the United States. It has been Trump's primary fundraising and political spending arm since he completed his first term in office. Interesting. Let's see who he has working, or who he had working there. We're going to go ahead and share the screen here with some information here. Let's go to Trump to Save America by putting portrait in Smithsonian. Let's see how many folks for staff, 44 at least as of August 22. Let's see if we can get some information. Well, maybe we'll have to use a search tool to find out who that staff is. 44. So let's go to our favorite search window. You know what? Let's just do the entire screen. There. Screen 2. There. So we're going to do this. Let's take a look at Who are the names of the 44 on Save America? So much fun. Couldn't locate publicly available verified list of 44 staffers. If you'd like, I can search through FEC filings, LinkedIn, and other disclosures to try to reconstruct as many names as possible. Let's try that. Maybe we can get that information. Again, what we're doing here is looking at the second subpoena, I believe, against me and others, where Jack Smith asked Save America to provide any evidence of any sort of communications or documents with my name in it. Which begs the question, hey, Jackass Smith, why are you doing that? Why are you violating my Fourth Amendment? Huh? Well, we're going to find out. May not find out exactly today, but we will find out. So you can see here, Save America has some overlap and individuals in here. So the subpoena is asking whether or not Bradley Crate, the treasurer, has communicated with Ivan Raiklin. Jack Smith is asking if Susie Wiles has communicated with Ivan Raiklin. Liz Harrington, if she's communicated with Ivan Raiklin. If Taylor Budowich has communicated with Ivan Raiklin. If Margot Martin has communicated with Ivan Raiklin. Let's take a look here. Crates was the treasurer. Susie Wiles ran Trump's post-presidency political fundraising operation, including Save America, brought in March 2021 to lead fundraising ops. Liz Harrington announced June 15th a spokesperson for Save America and Donald Trump's post-White House office. Spokesperson. You had, who else? Taylor Budowich served as Save America spokesperson, community comms director in 2022, later moved to run MAGA Inc. Wait a second. MAGA Inc. We'll see. And Margot Martin, deputy director of communications for Save America, documented profiles of her role. Okay, these are roles tied specifically to Save America PAC, not the later MAGA Inc., Super PAC, or the 2024 campaign. Wait, are you referring to MAGA PAC? Well, guess what? Not only was there a subpoena to Save America Joint Fundraising Committee, there was also a subpoena for Save America, where I'm listed. And then there was also a subpoena for Make America Great Again PAC and Trump Make America Great Again Committee. So let's move on to the third one, where it says Make America Great Again PAC employees. I'm just researching here based on the disclosures of Senator Ron Johnson. Wait a second. I wasn't able to find a publicly verified comprehensive employee list for Make America Great Again Inc. or the earlier Make America Great Again PAC. What I did find is the following key staff names associated with the Super PAC. So who are those names? Once again, Taylor Budowich, Executive Director. Stephen Chung, Comms Director at MAGA Inc. Tony Fabrizio, Pollster. Chris LaCivita, Chief Strategist at MAGA Inc. I'm guessing this is the same as the MAGA PAC that was subpoenaed here. Sergio Gore, Senior Advisor. Carolyn Levitt, Spokesperson at MAGA Inc. Later moved roles. Charles Grant, Treasurer of MAGA Inc., according to Influence Watch. So, Jackass Smith was asking whether or not these individuals had communicated with me. You got to ask them. Okay. And the fourth subpoena is made by Jack Smith to Trump Make America Great Again Committee. Who are the employees, folks? I don't know. Or do I? I couldn't look at a public verified full roster. If you like, I can dig up FTC. Yeah, let's give it a shot. Let's see if we can find something. I like transparency. While it's thinking, to recap, Jackass Smith, of his 197 subpoenas, I think the 4 that I'm talking about, in my opinion, are the most important ones. It's going to shed light on exactly why he even existed, Jackass Smith. Jackass Smith existed. Oh, I'll tell you after we look through this here. The treasurer, Bradley Crate. Short version. There's no public authoritative employee roster. The treasurer, current participants in the joint fundraising committee. Republican National is about how payroll. Okay, so we just have one name. Let's see here. Oh, here we go. How payroll is handled, watchdog filings, and FEC matters. Note, Trump committees routed very large sums through vendors like American-made media consultants and Parscale Strategy, a structure that can obscure which individuals were paid as staff. Top pays vendors, Save America transfers, Red Curve, Jones Day, Purple Series expenditure breakdown. Okay, here we go. So let's take a look. What organization is, let's see here. Yeah, let's kind of learn about this together. Describe to me the differences and similarities of the 4 organizations above. So let's do an analysis. Save America PAC, 1. Save America Joint Fundraising Committee, 2. Make America Great Again PAC. And Make America Great Again Inc. Wait. Make sure I got it all here. Is that all 4? Save America PAC. That's this one here. Then we have Save America Joint Fundraising Committee. That's 2. Make America Great Again PAC. And then Trump Make America Great Again Committee, I guess, Inc. Independent Expenditure Only Committee. Yep, those are the 4. So let's take a look. Founded November 2020 after the 2020 election, Bradley Cate collects donations ostensibly to support candidates and causes aligned with President Trump, pays for political travel, events, legal expenses, limits. Leadership PAC cannot direct funds to a presidential campaign. Independent legal entity controlled by Trump and his senior advisors. Susie Wiles La Savita. This one, 21-22 election cycle. Mechanism not a standalone PAC. Pools large donor checks. Okay. Make America Great Again PAC. November 2020, rebranded from 2020 campaign. Legally distinct from MAGA Inc. See below and from the 2024 campaign committees. Okay. And what about, I'm not sure that's the right name for it. We got to add one more question. Trump Make America Great Again Committee. So we'll ask the question. What was the Trump Make America Great Again Committee? T. Magak. Created early 2017. President Trump for President Inc. RNC. Purpose was designed to pool donations from Trump supporters and then split them between the campaign and the RNC according to a preset formula. Okay. All right. So there you go. Can fund Trump campaign directly, indirectly. Donation limits, disclosure of donors. So you can see that Jackass Smith, they're doing everything in their power. The Biden criminal syndicate is doing everything in their power with the Pelosi criminal syndicate to take out President Trump. All means necessary. Okay. So this was during the lawfare phase of it. You can see here. And guess who were the most important individuals that they wanted to look into that these four organizations would have been communicating with? Huh? Let's take a look. How about they were looking at the following individuals. Let's see if we can pull it up. Ivan Raiklin. And then Proud Boys, Oath Keepers, Praetorian, First Amendment Praetorian, 3%ers, Oath Keepers, Proud Boys, First Amendment Praetorian, 3%ers, Women for America First, and then me. Why is that? Why do you guys think that is? Don't you find that interesting? I find that very interesting and intriguing. And I think it's more than intriguing. So who are the culprits with the evidence provided here that decided to violate my Fourth Amendment? I need to talk about these names, and they're in the title of this particular broadcast. Let's really zoom in on their names. Let's create a list, and let's put those people at the top of the deep state target list now that we have evidence to support it. Hey, I was angry how you violated all of our rights, but now I'm laser focused on being, let's just say, I'll be diplomatic, disappointed that the following traitors, alleged traitors, Jackass Smith, Maria Vento, Angela Caesar, Special Agent Jeremy Desor, and former Special Agent Walter Giardina, decided to violate my Fourth Amendment. They have to face consequences, okay? I'm not going to let this go unpunished, okay? Because now I have your names. Now, I kind of knew before, but now we have the 100% full stop evidence of it. Jackass Smith, see that? Jackass Smith, special counsel. Then we scroll down. Jackass Smith, Maria K. Vento. Then we go to the next one. The clerk, Angela Caesar. Then we go to the actual special agents that I'm going to have questions for. And guess what? What do you think I did after I learned this last night and into today as I started looking through this document? You think I'm just going to sit and watch this play out and not actually start to go and investigate in person? Well, based on Senator Ron Johnson and his recommendation, let's listen to what his recommendation was. And then I'll tell you what I did in response to his recommendation. Listen closely.
Judiciary Committee, we need, and so I am calling on, and I appreciate all the members of the Judiciary Committee, we need to get to the bottom of this. We need to do everything we can to assist Director Patel and AG Bondi in making sure that they have the staff to take control of these agencies, that they're the heads of them. I don't think they have the control. I think they're being sabotaged within. But the American people need to understand exactly what happened. And again, I'm calling on members of the Judiciary Committee to help Senator Grassley and myself get to the bottom of this so we can expose this, so this doesn't happen again in America. This has to end. And so
Okay, so let's go back. Let's get the audio going. Here we go.
Dr. Patel.
I want to make sure that you listen closely, okay?
And so I
Listen to
am
Senator
calling
Ron
on
Johnson, and I'm taking that as direct guidance. Listen.
And so I am calling on, and I appreciate all the members of the Judiciary Committee, we need to get to the bottom of this. We need to do everything we can to assist Director Patel and AG Bondi in making sure that they have the staff to take control of these agencies, that they're the heads of them. I don't think they have the control. I think they're being sabotaged within. But the American people need to understand exactly what happened. And again, I'm calling on members of the Judiciary Committee to help Senator Grassley and myself get to the bottom of this so we can expose this, so this doesn't happen again in America. This has to end. And so I am calling on...
It's not has to. It will end. It must end. So what do I do when I hear this stuff? What does Ivan Raiklin, the Secretary of Retribution, do when he sees 197 subpoenas, 4 of which are going after everything related to President Trump's fundraising infrastructure, and they're questioning all those involved in the President Trump infrastructure and ecosystem to be able to fundraise to then destroy the Biden criminal syndicate? They go after the Oath Keepers, Proud Boys, First Amendment Praetorian, 3 percenters, some others, and me, private citizen Ivan Raiklin. I'm not going to let it go. So here's what I do. Let's go to my profile on X, Ivan Raiklin. What do? This is what I do, folks. Listen closely. I go over to the FBI's Washington field office. Why? Well, at the bottom of the subpoena, it says, if you have any questions, guess who you ask? It says on the bottom of the subpoena who to ask. And it says, why don't you go ahead and ask? I'm trying to get to this. I have it on paper and digits. Lo and behold, please direct any questions to Special Agent Jeremy Desor and Walter B. Giardina. Well, if Jeremy Desor is still an employee of the FBI at the Washington field office, according to Brandon Straka, as late as June, I need to go see if he's at his office at 601 4th Street Northwest, Washington, D.C. So let's go ahead and take a look and see if I happen to bump into him. I'm going to play this little video. Listen closely. Good morning, America. You folks aren't going to want to miss this, just like always. Go ahead and share this. And here we go. So I'm in Washington, D.C. I'm about to go live, and I'm going to tell you how the FBI's Washington field office is absolutely rotten to the core. But before I start, keep in mind, if you haven't watched my stream a couple of days ago...
Shit. I collected... Hang on a second. Let me just get this in my hands.
If you haven't seen my stream a couple of days ago, then you can go ahead and see back here. We're on 3rd Street. Let's go to this corner so I can kind of show you here. G Street right there. So we're in Northwest Washington, D.C., and this is G Street at the intersection of G, and let's go ahead and take a look over here, 3rd Street. All right? If you take a look at Title 2 U.S. Code, Section 1967B, or 67 paragraph B, it lists
the jurisdictional zone of the United States Capitol Police. And guess where it starts? The northwest quarter starts all the way down there on the corner of A, B, C, D, E, F Street, right? Or is it H? H is up there, actually. Up there on H Street and 3rd. So if you see a U.S. Capitol Police officer on the other side of this street, that's because that's well within their designated jurisdictional zone. Tuck that away for now, because we'll probably reference that as we keep moving forward. So the building you see right here in front of me as I'm waiting across the street is known as the FBI's Washington Field Office. As I introduce you to the Washington Field Office, which is here at the corner of G and 3rd Street Northwest, abutting the very jurisdictional limit of the U.S. Capitol Police. By the way, think 274 FBI CHS's undercovers that were deployed to the Capitol. I would suspect that maybe one or more of them came from here. Wouldn't you think? Because that's the nearest location to the U.S. Capitol Police and, let's just say, the legislative branch known as the U.S. Capitol on January 6th. But I digress intentionally. So, what's that? Okay. So you can see here, wait, let me zoom out. Because this is very important, folks. Am I zoomed in too much? Well, I guess I can't zoom out. So down there, you can see, that's G Street. And then over here, let's see if we can say good morning to any of the legacy traders that are still working inside of this building. There you can see the loading dock, okay? Let's see if we're, oh, there, look at there. Folks are coming in and out, probably employees. I wonder if they're employees that need to be fired for being part of Arctic Frost with Jackass Smith. We'll name some of those names, okay? And notice here that it's the FBI police that protects its buildings, okay? They have their own separate law enforcement for force protection. Okay? Do. Let's wait for these guys to walk by. How you doing, sir? Good morning. Okay? So it'd be interesting if somebody just kind of conducted First Amendment activity across the street over in the U.S. Capitol Police's jurisdiction zone. Morning, sir. And basically determine whether or not they can identify every single person that is conducting business inside this building, right? Without obstructing, just letting them do their job, right? And so, remember, there's seven floors? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe 8? No, because when they say the 7th floor, they're referring to FBI's headquarters, okay? Remember, this is one of the 56 field offices that the FBI has throughout the country, okay? I believe it's 56. So this is the main one, right? The one that was used to weaponize against all January 6ers. The one that was the one coordinating with U.S. Capitol Police for the Fedsurrection. The one that was used to go ahead and carry the water once the J6 Select Committee concluded their work and the Democrats lost the election in 2022, the House at least. That's when they had to push all documents and weaponization over to the FBI's Washington Field Office. And if you still don't believe that I'm out at the FBI Washington Field Office, let's take a look and zoom in as we go on a nice tour of D.C. See that right there? 601. 601 what? I imagine this is 4th Street since we just went a block, right? And you know what? I think I'm going to go ahead and set up shop right here without getting in anyone's way. And I wanted to give you guys a little info. Let me grab my little stand. Okay? Just bear with me. Right here. Now, let's see if they harass us. Because all we're going to do is make First Amendment sounds without obstructing. Everything will be done legally, morally, and ethically. I can't say the same for them, as you're about to hear. Okay? So let's set up right here. Nice and perfect location. Just make sure that the papers don't fly away. And I'm going to stand right here until I'm told otherwise. Okay? So, folks, check this out. For those that aren't aware, 2 days ago, the Senate Judiciary Chairman, Senator Charles Grassley from Iowa, put out a 1,730-page document that lists all of the 197 subpoenas that were issued by Jackass Smith, right? The special counsel, the real special counsel. And so let's take a look at 4 specific subpoenas that were issued by good old Jackass Smith, okay? One of them is this one right here. You can take a look. And what does it say? U.S. Department of Justice, Jackass Smith, Special Counsel. That was from the DOJ, 950 Pennsylvania Avenue Northwest. The room number's redacted. The electronic mail on February 10th of 2023. To who? Save America Joint Fundraising Committee. Candidate at the time, Donald Trump. President candidate Donald Trump. Joint Fundraising Committee. Another one was to Save America, which is also another organization related to the campaign and fundraising capability for the President Donald Trump for 2024 campaign. Another one was a PAC, Make America Great Again PAC. Another one was by Trump Make America Great Again Committee. Intriguing, huh? So, by the way, that was in February. Sorry for the wind. I know it's a little windy. February 10th of 2023. Okay? Remember, in November of 2022 is when you had an election and the Republicans won the House of Representatives. So they had to move that weaponization, persecution, illegal, unconstitutional behavior from the House of Representatives, from the January 6th Select Committee, and they had to move it over here, along with Jackass Smith. Okay? DOJ, headquarters at July, and then the Washington field office. Now, the reason why I bring these up, this was related to a grand jury subpoena. Now you can see the number here. GJ20230210, that's 2023, February 10th, EO119-120, 121, and 122. So let's go into the details of this. It says here, pursuant to a criminal investigation being conducted by the Department of Justice, it is required that you furnish the requested records as described in the attached subpoena. Although you are not required to do so, you are requested not to disclose the existence of the subpoena or the fact of your compliance. 2 components. The first component is Jack Smith and his assistant special counsel, Maria K. Vento, okay, are signing off on a subpoena, meaning they're about to violate the 4th Amendment with this action, as the future will hold them to account. We're not there yet. We're working the case. And the clerk of court at the U.S. District Court for the District of Columbia, probably, even though his name's not on here, Matt Graves, the U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia, are complicit in the violation of the 4th Amendment, and the judge that signed off on this. If, I don't see it here, I believe it was Judge Boasberg, based on the hoopla of the Senate and Ted Cruz wanting and calling on the House of Representatives to impeach him. So, I continue looking through here, and what is it that Jack Smith and, wait, what's her name again? Gotta memorize these names now, that they've just popped themselves, they've nominated themselves to be on the DSTL by their actions. Miss Maria Vento, okay? So this is what Maria Vento, as well as Jackass Smith, are asking all of President Trump's campaign organizations. Documents, records, information, communications. What are the definitions of documents? Any written, recorded, graphic material, etc., contracts, agreements, letters, telegrams, inter-office communications, memorandum notes. You get the point, right? Emails, text, everything. Video, audio, WhatsApp, Telegram, Signal, email, Proton. I won't go through the whole list. What communications mean: written, electronic, email, Proton mail, text, instant message, WhatsApp, Telegram, Signal, telephone, etc. Now, what are they specifically looking for? They are looking for, in this subpoena, anything that the Save America Joint Fundraising Committee has in communicating
That's interesting that
with the
it's going
following.
black. So we're at 12 minutes and 44 seconds. Let me see if I can refresh this. When did it stop? Streaming. Let's go to 1240.
Or now, what are they specifically looking for? They are looking for Maria
Wait a second.
Grand
How did
make
that
them
stop?
chairman to the House at least. That's when they had to
Watch
push all
video
FB.
being aired?
Let's take a look. Nice tool. 601. Since I think I'm gonna go grab my list. Make same for them. Nice and perfect. So let's set up right here. Nice and perfect. Right here.
Wow. Looks like
Nice and perfect.
Stream.
Location. Let's make sure that the. So let's set up right here.
Guess what?
Sure that the. Okay. That aren't chairman. Thousands list. By. And what is it? Numbers were.
Wow.
Subpoena 314 are signing off on a subpoena. This at there yet? We're district attorney.
You can hear the audio, but you can't see the video.
Wait. Jackass Smith. Audio. Proton. Now, what are they specifically looking for?
Well.
They are looking for.
Somebody's blocking the video
this
from going
subpoena.
through on the X Live.
Anything that the Save America Joint Fundraising Committee has in communicating with the following 27
I want you to listen in.
Entities or
it's important to listen in, okay? Because I think the video picks up a little bit later. So let's watch.
individuals. Let me read it to quote. For the period of August 1st, 2020 to the present, all documents to from CCBCC referring to, referencing, or relating to one or more of the following entities and or individuals. So Jackass Smith wanted to see if the campaign and the fundraising arms of the campaign and the affiliated PACs were communicating with the Oath Keepers, with the Proud Boys, First Amendment Praetorian, Brandon Ackerell, who, I searched his name up, worked for, I guess, Alex Felix of ALX, and we'll have to look into a little bit more in there. There was no association there listed as being a Proud Boy or Oath Keeper, but everyone else here, you can see here, Joseph Biggs, Proud Boy, Charles Bowman, testified to the J6 committee. He worked for Women for America First. Thomas Caldwell, Oath Keeper. Donovan Crowell, Oath Keeper. I think his name is not spelled that way. I think it's spelled Crowll. Joseph Hackett, Oath Keeper. Kenneth Harrelson, Oath Keeper. Joshua James, Oath Keeper. Robert Patrick Lewis, First Amendment Praetorian founder. Connie Meggs, Oath Keeper. Kelly Meggs, Oath Keeper. Robert Menuda, Oath Keeper. David Morshell, Oath Keeper. Ethan Nordine, Proud Boy. Dominic Pizzola, Proud Boy. Wait for it. I'm going to skip number 19 for now. Number 20, Zach Rill, Proud Boy. Elmer Stewart Rhodes III, Oath Keeper. Kelly Sorrell, Oath Keeper. Russell Taylor, apparently he was a 3%er. Henry Enrique Tario, a.k.a. Enrique Tario, chairman of the Proud Boys. Brian... Oh, it's a little windy over here. Hopefully you can hear me. Brian Ulrich, Oath Keeper. Edward Vallejo, Oath Keeper. Jessica Watkins, Oath Keeper. And guess what else? Number 19 on the list. Not an Oath Keeper. Not a Proud Boy. Not a First Amendment Praetorian guy. Not a 3%er. But private citizen. Acting and operating in his First Amendment capacity. As always, Ivan Raiklin. Okay? So, Jackass Smith. Looks like the gods are out there. No, the devil is trying to create some wind in order for me to not go into a little bit more detail on this subject. Are they seeing the clouds? Wow, it's getting a little windy. So wait for it as we kind of wait for here. For the wind to die down, as I explain what all this means. And I'm going to be doing more streams on this, so don't worry. This is just the tip of the iceberg. Just the tip. Okay? So, Jackass Smith, special counsel, fake special counsel, and his assistant special counsel, Maria Vento, are asking the Save America Joint Fundraising Committee on all their communications with the following individuals, to include me. Why is that, Jackass Smith? We're going to find, oh, I know, but we're going to find out, and we're going to explain that to America. Why? They wanted to tie President Trump to Nancy Pelosi's Fedsurrection. Excuse me. Jackass Smith calls it an insurrection, doesn't he? Or the Capitol riot. No, it was a Fedsurrection. And guess who was very instrumentally involved in it? See what's back behind me? The individuals that were. And still, many are still here. As you can see them walking in to the building to continue the perpetual Fedsurrection and attempted coup, okay? And you may ask, which FBI agents specifically were involved in this subpoena? I can tell you, it's because it's public information now. In lieu of personal appearance, you may comply with the subpoena by documents in electronic format to Special Agent Jeremy Desor and Walter B. Giardina. Jeremy Desor, spelled D-E-S-O-R. And I believe, oh wait, what's this? FBI, Federal Bureau of Investigation, Washington Field Office, 601 4th Street, Northwest Washington, D.C. Wait, that kind of looks like a 601 to me. And that kind of looks like 4th Street right there. Yeah, that is 4th Street. And that's 601 for the boys and girls taking notes at home. So, please direct any questions to Special Agent Jeremy Desor and Special Agent Walter Giardina. Let's ask folks that come in here if they know these two individuals. Should we? Is anybody coming into work today? To the FBI's Washington Field Office? I think I'm going to be asking them. Peacefully, patriotically, legally, morally, and ethically, as always. Let's take a look. Not only did they subpoena Save America Joint Fundraising Committee, they Save America, Make America Great Again PAC, but also Trump Make America Great Again Committee. Let's see if these folks know. Hey, good morning. Do you guys know Jeremy Desor?
That's too bad. It looks like X has pulled part of the video down, but the audio's still there. Because if we go over here, look at this. Interesting.
A headache
A
headache.
How's it possible that
investigator? Okay. Assistant Special Counsel. Oh wow, the wind.
this is insane?
You guys okay? You didn't get a headache from that?
How is it possible?
Let's stabilize this more.
All right, folks. Looks like somebody asked it to get down. A little censorship. They don't like transparency over at the Washington Field Office now, do they? Well. That's okay. Because I got multiple camera angles of that particular interview. So last week, Joseph Philip Daniel was going to go live in front of Washington Field Office, and he was suspended. I went live, wasn't suspended, at least not yet, but they went ahead and took down the video. Look at this. At the beginning of the video,
Starts all.
and as I get a little too close,
It'd be interesting.
as I'm
Ooh, the
out
house-
front here, when did they start? As soon as I set up
Will be
shop,
done legally, morally, and ethically.
they go ahead and blacken out the video.
I can't say the same for them,
so that
as you're
America
about
can't
to
see
hear.
it.
Okay?
Right there.
So let's set up right here. Nice and
There you go.
perfect.
All right, let me see here. Let me see if I can get the... Stand by while I call someone to get the another video.
Unsalted saute frappuccino.
Liberal tears.
Yeah. Okay. Did you just lie to me? Under oath? Not you.
I know.
Did she? I'm going to investigate her. Okay? Not yet. Quite worthy of investigating. Guess what? These two FBI special agents, one former assistant special counsel, and one special counsel. Oh wow, the wind. Sorry. You guys okay? You didn't get a headache from that? Let's stabilize this more. Gosh, it's so windy. So, Jackass Smith, it's my turn to investigate you. Ms. Maria K. Vento, it's my turn to investigate you, right? And then former Special Agent Walter Giardina, it's my turn to investigate you, buddy. And Jeremy Desor, it is my turn to investigate you. And you know what that means? Huh. Why don't I just take the precedent that you just set on me? And up until now, most of these folks I didn't communicate with. Actually, I didn't communicate with these folks until after you went after them. And not all of them, some of them. But guess what? Now they're about to be my 23 closest friends. Eh? And what does that mean? They're going to be my closest friends. Maybe, just maybe,
Sorry about that. I'm having some serious difficulties here because apparently somebody over at the Washington field office must have requested when they caught wind of my stream to go ahead and shut the video down. That's a very unique way of censoring. I got to give it to you. Not bad, not bad. Very unique. Normally what you do is you get all scared and you decide, you know what? Let's go ahead and suspend the account. That's what you did to Joseph Philip Daniel last week. To me, you let the stream go a little bit, and then you decided to go ahead and leave the audio going, but not the video, because you didn't really like it when I asked your officers that were entering the building, right? To go ahead and provide some details on whether or not they knew. Special Agent Jeremy Desor. Got to memorize that name. Special Agent Jeremy Desor. That's weird. But I don't know. Maybe it's just the screen share that's having an issue because I'm looking at my phone right now. And apparently there is no issue with the video. So I don't know. So I don't know what's going on. Maybe it's a technical issue because on my phone it works fine. So go ahead and look at the stream. I'm not going to play it or try to play it again because I think I've already wasted many people's time trying to do that. So the bottom line here is 5 individuals wanted to go ahead and violate my Fourth Amendment. Number 1, former special counsel Jackass Smith. Number 2, actually, I got a tweet just for that. It's right here. These are the folks that decided to violate my Fourth Amendment. Former special counsel Jackass Smith. Former assistant special counsel Maria K. Vento. Special Agent Jeremy Desor, who I guess is still at the Washington field office, according to Brandon Straka. Former Special Agent Walter Giardina. Angela Caesar, the clerk of court. Oh, speaking of Walter Giardina, let's take a look at let's see here. Stop sharing. We'll share the window or the screen here. Oops. Let me start that again. Share the screen here. Audio. So we want to go ahead and there it is. So according to Brandon Straka, right? Walter Giardina, Jeremy Desor. So what did President Trump recently say about this guy, Walter Giardina? Let's find out. Truth Social. And then let's look at that name. See if anything comes up on Truth Social. TruthSocial.com. I have to log in. I'm not even sure. Are we able to search without logging in? Well, let's go to X and see if Walter Giardina, that name comes up. Hey, look at this. One FBI, two bad apples, both from the same family. Retired fire special agent Walter Giardina, who orchestrated my wrongful arrest, and his father-in-law, former FBI Deputy Director Larry A. Potts. Here we go. This is what President Trump, tweeted, or truth, 2 days ago. Former FBI agent Walter Giardina is a dirty cop. He should be, along with deranged Jack Smith, the sinister team of Lisa Monaco, Andrew Weissman, Little Jay Bratt, Norm Eisen, and his fake charity crew, Chris Wray, Merrick Garland, Tom Wyndham, who dreamt up the corrupt J6 witch hunt, should be investigated immediately. They are a disgrace to our nation. Thank you for your attention in this matter. So President Trump is tracking who this little scum is, and I'm also tracking that, obviously. And so when you say I'm tracking it, let's take a look here. This was a little bit after President Trump truthed out. Well, this is what I wrote. Not a very good day to be Jackass Smith or Maria Kathleen Vento or this guy Desor or this guy Walter Giardina, okay? And all those involved in targeting us. And a screenshot of yours truly, one of the 4 subpoenas released by Senator Chuck Grassley. So I don't know what to say other than that's the current state of affairs. We got 5 individuals that we're going to go ahead and investigate to the same level that they investigated me. And things are going to start getting warm. And you saw that I went up to the Washington field office. I would expect a lot more of that. And not just from me, as people start to identify every single employee at the Washington field office and at headquarters that need to be addressed legally, morally, and ethically, peacefully and patriotically, as we punish them for what they did to us. See that in the background here? They need a nice heavy dose of retribution with heavy coats of retribution, okay? So we move on to motivate those members of this coward government to actually grow a spine, to start the process to grow courage. Because right now, all we've seen is indictments. We have yet to see a single arrest. We have yet to see an impeachment. All it has been has complete rhetoric. And that rhetoric needs to start going and being whispered in not just the general population, but deliberately and specifically to the individuals that must be addressed. So here's a few that I've listed. to make things easy. And there you have it. Arctic frost, 197 subpoenas, 34 individuals, and I'm one of them. I wonder why. Anybody want to care to share? Oh, one last thing I'll say before signing off. Remember that in the subpoena, if you look at the bottom here, Jackass Smith says the following. I'll highlight it for you. Oops. Yeah, that was kind of messy. I don't know if I can remove that mess. There we go. Let's highlight this part right here. Although you are not required to do so, you are requested not to disclose the existence of this subpoena or the fact of your compliance. That's in all four of mine that are against the four organizations of Trump. So which begs the question. Did you ever hear that Save America disclosed that the subpoena existed so that I would know? Did you ever hear Save America Joint Fundraising Committee share and disclose publicly that this subpoena existed by Jackass Smith? I didn't. So too. Make America Great Again PAC. Did you hear that they said this publicly? No. What about Trump Make America Great Again Committee? Did they say this publicly? No. What did Mike Lindell do when he got a subpoena like this? And he read publicly, although you are not required to do so, you are requested not to disclose the existence of this subpoena. Mike Lindell immediately disclosed to America that it happened. Why didn't these four committees do so? And why didn't they disclose the entirety of it? It begs the question. Because had you done that, particularly in my situation, I would have known on February 10th of 2023 that my name is here, and that gives me another, let's see here. That would have given me 2 years and 8 months of a head start compared to yesterday, to investigate these scum with another data set to go after them. So, for those on these committees, when I talk to you next, that's what I'm going to ask you. Why didn't you tell me? And instead, why did you go radio silent? To me, that's called cowardice. But I'll give you an opportunity to make your case. Okay? And I'm always available. You have my number. Be happy to talk to you in detail about all of this. And it goes both ways. With that, I guess I can take a question or two. So, what you got? Any questions? Well, I don't see any questions. And looks like I got to make some calls. So keep an eye out for these individuals. If you have any information or, if you have any tips, please send me an email at info@raiklin.com as we continue to further investigate these individuals. So with that, I'm signing off for today. Thanks for tuning in.